I snap on him because I look at you different. Why the about my baby mom? I don't give a yo. If you ever was to talk to her, she'd tell you that.
I would never talk to that bitch on my level. She ain't nothing to me, and she never been in my circle. She never been around me. I didn't know.
And you've been bringing it up. So now I'm gonna give you what you want. I'm never gonna touch you again. I'm never physically gonna hurt you. You married, I'm blowing the head off on everything I love. I'm going back to prison on everything. About that. I told you stop throwing it in my face. If this is what you want to do, go in and do it. Stop throwing it in my face. All right. I just left you 2 months ago. Stop throwing it in my face before I kill you.
He acquired most of the properties in Natifa's name. Something happened along the line, and Armin had to go do some time in jail again. So, he put Natifa in charge of all his properties for her to take care of it while he was away. Not too long after, Natifa was put in charge. She changed the ownership of all the properties to her name, divorced him while in jail, and worst of all, she got married to another man and started a new life.
Oh, man.
Yo, face. Yo, your face, please. With sugar on top.
Alright y'all, now today we'll be visiting a story that I'm already familiar with and even did a video on it in the past, but as I always say, reacting to videos are better because I actually get to give my opinion based on the video rather than just give you the information. A lot of people are actually familiar with this story from Philly because it's one that brings a lot of questions due to what transpired and what led to a popular Philly Muslim woman being shot and unalived by a man she once dated while she was in a barbershop. Now some say she was wrong and could have prevented what happened to her by just giving her ex back what belonged to him, which included housing properties along with hundreds of thousands of dollars, allegedly. Others feel it don't matter what she did because nothing warrants you to play God and take somebody's life. I think the worst part about this whole story is that although this took place in October of 2023, here we are in 2025 and the suspect who did it still have yet to be found to this day, despite everybody knowing who it was. Y'all will understand what I mean in a second, but before we get into the video, shout out to Mind Twist True Crime Stories. If y'all want to watch the whole video without hearing me talk, I'll leave a link pinned in the comments for y'all to check it out there. But as for now, hit that thumbs up button so we can get this video into the algorithm, and if you're not subscribed to the platform already, make sure you do so now. Let's get into it.
It's a wrap.
Okay.
I just came ready to say my birthday is tomorrow. That's it. That's it. That's all
Got
I
that
want
Philly
to say.
accent for real.
You don't have a tripod at all?
Somebody stole it.
Somebody stole it.
Somebody gave it.
I stole it.
Ouch, I burnt my leg. I lost my mind. I was only drunk because I didn't have no food. Nobody cared that I didn't have food. Y'all just kept giving me Patron. I didn't have any food all night long, and I paid all the money for that food.
About you, I snap on him because I look at you different. Why the about my baby mom? I don't give a yo. If you ever was to talk to her, she'd tell you that.
I would never talk to that on my level. She ain't nothing to me, and she never been in my circle. She never been around me. I didn't know.
Philadelphia police have identified a suspect in connection with a deadly shooting inside a North Philly barber shop. 44-year-old Armand Hilton is wanted for murder, robbery, and related charges. Police say he shot and killed Natifa Wade inside a barber shop on Lehigh Avenue on Saturday afternoon.
It was a quiet Saturday afternoon in Philadelphia. A barbershop, just like any other, filled with the hum of clippers and friendly chatter. Families walked by, unaware that this ordinary day would soon be shattered by an act of unspeakable violence. A single gunshot, then another. The peaceful neighborhood was jolted awake as chaos spilled onto the street. Inside the barbershop, a life was taken in the blink of an eye. But this wasn't just any random act of violence. The killer? Still out there, armed, dangerous, and leaving behind more questions than answers. But this isn't just a story about a murder. It's about a chilling trail of evidence, a suspect with a shadowy past, and a motive that will leave you questioning everything. On October 7, 2023, in North Philadelphia, a barbershop on the 2500 block of West Lehigh Avenue became the scene of a fatal shooting. A 40-year-old woman, later identified as Latifah Wade from Coatesville, Pennsylvania, was shot in the torso and head. Medics pronounced her dead at the scene. Why did this happen? Was this personal or part of something unsettling? And how did a quiet corner of Philadelphia become the backdrop for such a brutal crime?
Keep in mind, y'all, also they say that she turned Muslim, if I'm not mistaken. So her name was Tiffany Wade, but I think as she took a shahada and all that stuff, she became Latifah Wade or something like that, from my understanding when we did the video before.
Stay with us as we unravel the layers of this perplexing case, exploring the investigation that followed, because the deeper we dig, the more disturbing this story becomes. From the moment the shots were fired to the manhunt that's gripping an entire city. And what we uncover might just make you look over your shoulder tonight. And at some point, I'm going to introduce the most intriguing twist in this story that will leave you perplexed. This is the tragic story and mystery behind the tragic death of Latifah Wade. Welcome to Mind Twist True Crime Stories, where all our stories are based on true crimes. Kindly support us by subscribing to this channel. Hit the notification bell icon so you won't miss any of our latest stories. This tragic story took place in Philadelphia, often called the City of Brotherly Love. Has a rich history but faces significant challenges in recent years, including rising crime and gun violence. As of late, the city has struggled with alarming homicide rates, with gun-related crimes contributing to much of the violence. Community efforts and law enforcement initiatives are ongoing to address these issues, but the impact of gun violence continues to resonate deeply. This tragic backdrop frames the heartbreaking story of Latifah Wade, underscoring the urgency for justice and solutions. Latifah Wade wasn't just a name in a news report. She was a daughter, a friend, a business owner. She hailed from Coatesville, Pennsylvania, a town southwest of Philadelphia. A devout Muslim, her faith was a guiding force in her life. She was known to be a kind and giving person. Her friends describe her as generous, hardworking, and full of life. According to her social media, she was passionate about helping people. She opened a home healthcare service for the Philadelphia community. She was the owner of a cleaning service, a herbs and spices seasoning shop, a hair extension business, amongst others, and a little bit of real estate, which is a testament to her drive and entrepreneurial spirit. She was also a registered nurse and a mother to 3 adorable children. This detail alone adds a whole new dimension to this tragedy. Imagine the void left behind. What do you think is the hardest part for a family to endure after such a loss? She's always seen flaunting her wealth on her Instagram page, buying designer clothes, fancy cars, luxury vacations, and living her life to the fullest. But on that October afternoon, she wasn't at her business or on vacation. She wasn't at home with her family. Instead, she was at a barbershop on West Lehigh Avenue in North Philadelphia. Why? That's the question investigators and those who loved her are still asking. Why was Latifah at that barbershop on West Lehigh Avenue that day? That's a question that haunts this case.
See, this is something new to me because when we covered this story, it was told, pretty much reported in the news, that the reason she went there was to get a haircut, I think for her son, if I'm not mistaken. And I'm not even sure if she have a son. That's just how it was given us. But now listening to that, he's right. You know, maybe she was lured in there. You know, maybe a person close told her to go to the barbershop, and it was a setup from the beginning, because a lot of people envy her as well. But that's something I've learned on Facebook when I was covering this story, where they said that she had a lot of people that kind of didn't like her because they felt that she was very, like, you know, just out there flaunting and stuff like that. Y'all know how people get envious.
While details are still emerging, it appears she had accompanied a friend or relative. She wasn't simply a random victim. There was a connection, a reason she was there at that specific time. This wasn't a robbery gone wrong. It wasn't a random act of violence. This was something else. Reports began to surface suggesting a possible domestic element to this case. This information changes everything. It paints a picture of a situation far more complex and personal than initially imagined. This wasn't a stranger-on-stranger crime. It was something far more intimate, something that likely involved someone Nitifah knew. This is where the story takes a truly disturbing turn. If this was a domestic situation, what led to such extreme violence? What could have possibly triggered such a devastating outcome? And who was the person connected to Nitifah in such a way? These questions hang heavy over this investigation, and they form the crux of what we'll explore next. Don't go anywhere, because the next part of this story will leave you speechless. It was just before 2 p.m. on Saturday, October 7th, 2023. A typical weekend afternoon, but inside a barbershop on the 2500 block of West Lehigh Avenue in North Philadelphia, that ordinary day was about to be shattered. Imagine the buzz of clippers, casual conversations, the smell of aftershave, and then a single gunshot. Everything changed in an instant. What do you think would be going through the minds of the people inside at that moment? Share your thoughts in the comments. Witnesses described the chaos that immediately followed. Panic erupted, people scrambling for cover, shouting, the immediate realization that something terrible had just happened. Nitifah Wade had been shot. She suffered gunshot wounds to her torso and head.
See, that's definitely a crime of passion. So he didn't really get too in depth, but from when we covered it, it was explained that the person came in there, knew exactly where she was in the barbershop, went straight to her, no talking, no nothing, didn't talk to anybody else, didn't talk to her, went straight back there and just proceeded to shoot her in her torso and in her head. Yeah, very brutal. It seems like a crime of not just, some random crime. This is definitely a crime of passion.
Barbershop, a place of routine and community, had become a scene of unimaginable violence. This wasn't some distant event. It happened in a place where people gathered, a place that suddenly became a crime scene. It's hard to imagine the fear and confusion those present must have felt. Within minutes, first responders arrived at the scene. Paramedics rushed inside, but it was too late. Nitifah Wade was pronounced dead at the scene. The time was just after 2 p.m. The barbershop was cordoned off, becoming a focal point for police investigators. The initial reports were sparse. A woman shot inside a business, no weapon recovered. No suspects in custody, just a devastating loss and a growing number of unanswered questions. But amidst the initial confusion, a crucial detail began to surface. This wasn't a random act of violence. This wasn't a robbery gone wrong. This was something different. The police began to focus their investigation on the possibility that Nitifah Wade was targeted. This changes the entire narrative. It suggests a motive, a connection between the victim and the perpetrator. What could that connection be? What could have led to such a brutal act? This new information creates a disturbing picture, a puzzle with missing pieces. And the answers, as they begin to surface, are more unsettling than anyone could have imagined. The question on everyone's mind was, who could have committed such a...
This guy right here. To be honest with you, I hope they show the picture of the guy who they are accusing of it. To be honest with you, this don't look like him at all, at least to me. I always felt like that, but I guess people from Philly, when they seen this, they identify who it was, so maybe they did know exactly who it was. Clearly, he of some type of Muslim, but then, in Philly, everybody pretty much is, Muslim. But like I said, he don't look like the guy that they had in the mugshot, but like I said, people that's in Philadelphia, I'm pretty sure they would know more than I do. But this guy, he just looks he just walked, I don't know.
Such a brutal act. Who would walk into a barbershop and take a life so carelessly? Then the police released a name.
Here's the guy. Now, to be honest with you, this don't look like, if you could see him and then see the posture of this guy, it looked like two different people, but like I said, who knows? Anybody from Philly would know more than I would. It just seems like it's two different postures, right? This looked like a bigger, heavy set fella. And, it could be the same person. Like I said, who knows?
Armand Hilton. This changed everything. The investigation had a face, a focus. But who was this man? And what connected him to Nitifah Wade? Armand Hilton, known by the street name Speedy, 44 years old, from Chester, Pennsylvania, became the prime suspect in Nitifah Wade's murder. Details about his specific background are limited, but the crucial piece of information was this. There was a connection between Hilton and Natifa. Reports suggested a domestic element to the case, hinting at a relationship between the two. This wasn't a random act. It was something far more personal, far more disturbing. What kind of relationship do you think they had? The charges against Armand Hilton were severe: murder and robbery. This indicated that the police believed the motive extended beyond just the taking of a life. Robbery suggested another layer to this crime, perhaps a financial element. This detail adds another layer of complexity to the case, suggesting a possible motive beyond a personal dispute. The police issued a stark warning. Armand Hilton was considered armed and dangerous. A manhunt was launched. The urgency in their message was clear. They needed to apprehend him quickly. The public was urged to exercise extreme caution and to report any sightings immediately. This wasn't just an investigation anymore. It was a race against time. The thought of a potentially violent individual on the loose created a sense of fear and uncertainty. But there was something else. Something from Armand Hilton's past that added a truly disturbing dimension to this case. Back in 2002, he was involved in a kidnapping case gone wrong. He was apprehended while he and his crew wanted to collect the ransom money, and he made the papers. This wasn't a minor offense. This was a serious crime that revealed a capacity for violence. This information casts a long shadow over the current investigation. It suggests a pattern, a history of dangerous behavior.
For y'all fellas out there that commit crimes and all that, just know, and you see what they said, right? It don't matter even if you're doing good, right? If you get caught up into something and they go into your past and you have a history of doing something that you're being accused of, 9 times out of 10, it don't mean, even if you are innocent, you're gonna appear guilty because you have a history of it. That's why I tell people, stay out them courts. Please, if you think you out here committing crimes, you getting arrested back to back to back, and even if you bond out or if you beat certain cases, at the end of it, when something very serious comes up and they gotta go in your background and look at your history, all of that stuff that you thought that you beat, and it all starts to play a part. And your past will make you look more guilty than anything. So just take that into consideration the next time you think that you just getting arrested and you beat it and you free, and don't worry, it'll come back to haunt you in the end, even with jobs, unfortunately.
Detail is important because it offers a glimpse into Hilton's past, and it makes the current situation all the more terrifying. It begs the question, what was he capable of now? This past incident raises serious concerns about the potential danger he posed to the public. What do you think about this previous crime? What does it suggest about this case? This is a crucial piece of the puzzle, and it sets the stage for what would happen next. And what happened next will make you question everything. Now here comes the intriguing twist. After Mind Twist, True Crime Stories did lots of finding and also word on the streets. It is said that Natifa and Armand had been married before, and they had a son together, which is one of the kids seen with Natifa. Armand was rich at the time and had...
So yeah, that was the son that they had together. That was, okay, so that was the son that she was going, that she took to the barbershop. That was the son. All right, so now it makes sense.
Lots of properties around Philly and Miami. But due to his criminal records, he acquired most of the properties in Natifa's name. Something happened along the line, and Armand had to go do some time in jail again. So, he put Natifa in charge of all his properties for her to take care of it while he was away. Not too long after, Natifa was put in charge. She changed the ownership of all the properties to her name, divorced him while in jail, and worst of all, she got married to another man and started a new life.
Oh man, see, so now I see. Now, you know what's crazy, when I was doing this, sometimes it don't hit you like hearing it even when you're saying it, if that makes sense. But he had the money, right? He had the money. He was the guy. They got together. After they got together, he did something, had to go to jail. After he went to jail, I guess he put everything in her name, right? Because I guess he didn't want to lose it, so he put everything in her name so she could look after it. When he came out, now, you know, well, we didn't get to that part yet. I'm speeding, y'all. But she divorced him, got a new man, the whole 9 yards, and put everything in her name. Now he can't even get it back. It's like these guys that be out here, they ain't got no job, you know, they probably hustle, whatever. They put cars or houses in girls' names, and when something go wrong, they can't get it back because it's in the girl's name. No matter how much money you paid for it, even if you bought the car, you can't get it back because it's not in your name. And sometimes that's enough to make somebody go crazy. Let's see what's going on.
Now, after Armand did his time and was out, he discovered that all his properties were listed in someone else's name. He confronted Natifa and demanded for his properties back from her, but she kept playing him, going back and forth, still flaunting luxury on her social media with her new man.
Yeah.
Armand got angry and started sending threats. She recorded everything, the conversations, text voice notes, mail as evidence, because she knew he was going to do something crazy.
I snap on it because I look at you different. Why the about my baby mom? I don't give it. Yo, if you ever was the talk nigga, she'd tell you that.
I would never talk to that bitch on my level. She ain't nothing to me, and she never been in my circle. She never been around me. I didn't know.
And you've been bringing it up. So now I'm gonna give you what you want. I'm never gonna touch you again. I'm never physically gonna hurt you. You married, I'm blowing this head off on everything I love. I'm going back to prison on everything. I don't give a about that. I told you stop throwing it in my face. If this is what you want to do, go ahead and do it. Stop throwing it in my face. All right. I just left you 2 months ago. Stop throwing it in my face before I kill you. That's what I'm telling you, because that's what my mind said. I will go there.
Oh yeah, that's not somebody you play with. I ain't gonna lie. Let me tell you, as a good judgment of character, you can hear it in his voice that he don't care. You can hear it, the way he's explaining, the way he's talking. Trust and believe, he does not care about nothing. And he said it. He said he'll go back to jail. He don't care. But this part seems a little more like he was envious that they weren't together. You know, he was kind of like still feeling emotions like how most of us guys do. But he was feeling emotions. I guess this is aside from her not, you know, putting everything back in his name and taking things for him. Or maybe all of this played a part in it.
Us to be together, like I really do.
But she didn't know when or where, until the day he traced her down to the barbershop where she took their son for a haircut and unlived her right in front of their shun. My question is, didn't he know the kind of woman he married, and why would he entrust everything to her? Is it love or what? We live in a world where it's hard to trust oneself, not to talk of trusting someone else, especially with money and luxury. Dear viewer, was it right or wrong for him to have entrusted all his properties to her?
See, now that's where the sticky part comes in, right? Two things. Because some people might say, well, he's silly for putting it in her name. But no, because that was his wife. You know, I don't know the ins and outs. I don't know if maybe she caught him cheating. That's the reason why she divorced him. Or maybe she just thought he was going to have a lot of time. And she said, you know, forget it. I'm going to just take everything, move on with my life. Who knows? However it goes, damn.
Are his reactions and actions justified? Why would he end a life due to materialistic things? What are your thoughts concerning this story? No weapon, no suspects in custody. It was a crime that left more questions than answers. The barbershop on West Lehigh Avenue wasn't just a scene of tragedy. It was the epicenter of an investigation that quickly intensified. Natifa Wade's murder wasn't random, and police knew they had to act fast. But with no clear evidence to guide them, the clock was ticking. Investigators scoured the scene for any trace of evidence. Every inch of the barbershop was examined. Door handles, floors, windows. But the weapon used to take Natifa's life was nowhere to be found. The absence of this critical piece of evidence complicated the case further. Witnesses described hearing the gunshots, but the chaos of the moment left their accounts scattered. Law enforcement pieced together a basic timeline, but a clear narrative was still out of reach. Realizing the case was at a standstill, the police turned to the public for help. A $20,000 reward was announced for any information leading to the arrest and conviction of the person responsible. Flyers were distributed, tip lines were flooded, and the call for justice echoed across the community. But even with the reward, leads were slow to surface. How effective do you think these rewards are in solving cases like this? As the investigation continued, pressure mounted. Every day Armand Hilton remained at large, fear grew. Would the man deemed armed and dangerous strike again? Police poured resources into tracking Hilton down, working day and night to follow up on every lead. But with no weapon and only fragments of information, they faced an uphill battle. The question lingered. Would they find him before it was too late? And what might he do in the meantime? As at the time of telling this tragic story, he still remains at large, and it's been months.
That's pretty much it with that story. They left a lot of things out. I'm gonna leave a link also pinned to the story that we did on it as well, so y'all could kind of get filled in with that. But see, this is a touchy one, because at the end of the day, we know that nobody is supposed to take anybody's life. We know that. We know that nothing warrants you to try to play God and unalive somebody and whatever the case may be. But this is kind of tricky, because a lot of people were saying, well, if you had properties in his name and you know it was his, why don't you just give it back to him? Right? Why don't you just give him his stuff so you could be completely done with him, let him be, and that's it? A lot of people thought that she thought he was like a game, playing around with him. She posted on social media their conversations. You know, she was making fun of him, you know, and not to mention, he just came out of jail. So we don't know what his financial situations was like. And he got to sit there and watch her flaunt on social media. So it's, you know, it's crazy, you know? So you never know what a man in that position to do. And it seems like he couldn't take it. It got the best of him. He told her, and it just came to that point to where he just did what he did. You know, unfortunately, man. So like I said, this is one where I want to hear what y'all think about it. Do y'all think she should have just gave him his stuff and let him be? Do you think he overreacted and just should have never did it? Y'all let us know in the comments, man. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. And remember, as long as you keep on watching, I'm going to keep on dropping. And I'm out.